thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
How are you doing during this crazy pandemic?
Um, I'm doing pretty okay. I just got back to Brooklyn. I took cover at my mom's for like 4 months, 5 months. Honestly, I've lost track of time and space.
Mm.
But just getting back home, and it's pretty vibey up here. It's kind of weird, a little eerie. There's not as many people around, but I've just been keeping it safe and simple.
Mm. So tell us about your background. How did you become Wednesday Love?
Hmm. A thought. That's a thought. I
Mm.
mean, it's a broad question. What do you mean specifically?
Um, how did you become the performer you are today? I'm pretty sure you have like a long history of
Hmm.
performing and singing and stuff like that. How did all of that add up to you right now?
Well, my mom, for the most part, uh, when I was younger, forced me to do music and dancing, and I was completely against it. Didn't like it. I wanted no parts. It was just like a lot of pressure and I don't know. It's probably just like being a kid thing, like wanting to do the complete opposite of what your parent tells you to do. So
Hmm.
probably that. So that had a big influence on it. But it wasn't until high school, like when my friends were like playing guitar, and I really kind of decided to start doing my own thing, just as like an outlet, and really take it seriously.
Mm.
So I had my first band in high school. I joined, actually, it was an all guy band. I joined the band, um, but they said I was being too serious, so they kicked me out. It was like my
T-
first fired and hired
what?
job.
Too serious? How is that even possible?
Well, because they wanted us to play like covers. Like they basically wanted us to be like a cover band, I guess. And
Mm.
I wanted to do original music, and I wanted to do things or perform music that I know everybody wanted to hear, wanted to listen to, wanted to vibe with. I mean, I was in high school, so I'm thinking, the events we would play at, the people around us, what are they listening to? Um, I don't even think it was then that I really got into seriously understanding like the importance and the history of music.
Hmm.
So I guess we were just on different like wavelengths, because whereas they wanted to play, well, specifically one person who shall not be named wanted to play like Jimi Hendrix. I was like, okay, we need to be playing stuff people want to hear like right now,
Hmm.
the millennials. And it wasn't until I listened to Jimi Hendrix and I was like, yeah, I mean, duh. I mean, of course we could play that, but also I'm still serious about playing stuff, because getting gigs and getting paid right now, if a bar or a venue wants you to play music, they want you to play stuff that everybody knows. So, so I got fired and hired and fired. I was like seriously kicked out. We did one show together, one show. We had one show together, and then they kicked me out.
Oh my goodness.
Yo, I have no evidence of this show. Like, I think I have maybe one picture. So, and then I left school and started singing at the studio my mom took me to, her old friend, Kofi Roselle, or is it
Mm.
Roselle? If you're listening to this, Kofi, I didn't mean to say your name wrong, but at a studio, and we were recording some music. And I started actually writing music, and that was like my home base for a minute. Like I was sleeping in the studio, eating in the studio, like I was never home, and
Mm.
that's kind of how I got into it. But to be the person I am now, like it's just a big combustion of mixture and like life experiences. Like I could like write a whole book about it. We'd be talking forever to really get to the point. But yeah, it's just like a big mix of that. I hope that was like semi thorough.
Nah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So, I take it that you didn't start singing during high schools, probably before that, right?
Yep, when I was little, my mom used to have me at the little activist march or whatever, singing the South African national anthem and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, and singing "Fertile Ground" with my sisters. Like I used to like. I did it. Did I enjoy doing it? No, because I have terrible stage fright. Like people would not think that, but I have awful stage fright.
Mm.
So being, forced to sing in front of crowds, and I mean sometimes it'd be hundreds of people, but moms come over here and sing that song,
Yeah.
So yep.
It seems like your mom's had that vision, because without that, the foundation wouldn't be as strong as it is today, you know?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. She's the goat.
Yeah. Do you play any instruments?
Um, I'm like shitty at guitar. That's about as far as it goes. Like I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not really like an instrument person.
Mm.
Like in terms of my ability, like obviously, like I prefer to perform and things like that with live instruments. But I mean, I'm just some people it's like second nature to them, or maybe I'm not putting enough effort, or I'm just not committed. Who knows? But I'm like pretty sure at guitar. I know like 10 chords, 15 chords. Like I could hold a rhythm, maybe sing at the same time. I don't know. I can write to it. Let's just say that. I use the
Mm.
guitar to write, but the whole performing and singing thing, like that goes back to the stage fright. Like I could play it perfectly alone, but as soon as I have to play my guitar and sing at the same time in front of people, like my brain and hand like don't communicate correctly.
It seems like from the songs that I've heard, you have a very unique sound. How did you develop that?
Like I don't know how to describe it. I guess I think the biggest part about that maybe is just the genres of music I listen to. Like when I was growing up, my mom would had us in like the African cultural school. So,
Mm.
I listened to a lot of African music, I listened to a lot of Yoruba music, and then I'm in high school, I'm listening to Led Zeppelin and like
Mm.
Cage the Elephant and Jimi Hendrix and all of that great stuff. And then I mean cultural influences, the Black families, a lot of cookout music, like it's all like meshed
Yeah.
into one. And then my bout of a baby obsession with Amy Winehouse, because who hasn't had
Mm.
one? So it's just I guess maybe all of that mixed together, and I guess not focusing so much on what it sounds like and focusing on what it feels like.
Mm. Mm.
So I think that has also played a big part into it. It took me a very long time, like to figure out what I'm going for and how I want to say it and the way I need to evoke it, because I was focused on what it sounded like and not what it felt like. And I feel like once I started saying like fuck what it sounds like, fuck what I think people want to hear,
Mm.
um, how do I feel, not like what needs to be heard by people. It's not about them. I mean, it's about them, but it's also like this is a healing process for me. So I'm just trying to focus on what it feels like. I think that's like the biggest thing.
Um, do you remember the first song you've learned, like from front to back?
The first song I learned to sing front to back. Um, front to back. First song I learned to sing. Mm, hmm. I'm stuck between, like I told you, like my mom literally had me like singing the same songs over and over again at all of her little events.
Hmm.
Um, I'm stuck. You know what? I think it was Yellow Daisies by Fertile Ground, Navasha Daya. I
Okay,
think that's
okay.
the first song that I learned like front to back, like all of it, because we had to sing it so many times. So
Hmm. Um, is your family musical? Are you the only one, or do you come from a long line of musicians?
so my grandfather is a poet and a singer, writer, artist, musician. Oh, actually
Nice.
was. He just passed like maybe 3, 4 months ago.
Sorry to hear
Um,
that.
yeah, thanks. He lived in Harlem. So last time I saw him was in Harlem this past year.
Mm.
Um, Great writer. I mean, like had bags of like words, like great writer. And my mom, she sings and she writes. And then, my sister, my twin sister, she sings, she writes. My
Mm.
older sister, I mean, she be singing around the house.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the extent to the musical. Oh no, my dad did music stuff too. He used to be in a go-go band. He used to
Nice.
be in a go-go band. I think he played drums. You know, I don't remember, but he was a musical person. So I guess it's kind of been around me.
Yeah, it seems like you have a lot of different influences on your creativity, I believe, right?
Hmm.
Nice, nice. Which musicians besides Amy Winehouse do you admire and why?
Admire. Hmm. I'm always like, I'm always asked this question and like never prepared. Don't know why. Like it's like a question that's always going to get asked.
Mhm.
Okay.
It
Let's
could be more
see.
than one.
I'm sinking into the couch. Um, I like Sly Stone. Sly Stone. I love Sly Stone. I love Sly Stone. I love Sly Stone.
Mhm.
Um, I got into Duke Ellington a lot. I guess not much for vocals and more like just instruments, but I like that a lot. Lots of jazzy influence. Um, and Chet Baker. And who else do I listen to? Who am I always listening to? See, people ask me this question suddenly. Obviously, I'm listening to Erica Badu. Like that's a given. Like,
Mhm.
I know like the whole Mama's Gun album. Like you could just play the whole album out. I know every single word to the album, the ad libs, the background, the harmonies. Like I know all of it.
Mhm.
Um, I like who do I listen to? I'm having a brain fart. I like Cage the Elephant. I like Nirvana. Like I don't know. Like it's just like a big. Oh, that's who it is. So one artist that had like a really big like influence on me wanting to go like super edgy and like try alternative music was like Joan Jett, this
Mhm.
white lady who is just a really great rock and roll artist and really put women who rock on the map,
Mhm.
you know. So, and obviously love Michelle Indigocello, genius, that mind. So those are some people that have some really good influences, and also Tracy Chapman. I love Tracy. Listen to Tracy when I need a good cry. So this is some really good influences. I listen to them often, all the time. I love Curtis Mayfield and Marvin Gaye. Like those are my go-to. Like every day, I listen to the same Marvin Gaye song. So yeah.
Um, I remember as a kid, I believe it was in middle school when I guess the musical doors opened for me, where I just tried to find a bunch of different artists from all different genres and like listen and appreciate them. Was it the
Mhm.
same for you?
I mean, yeah, it was like really the same. Like, I don't know, when I went through high school, I really went through a serious like indie phase, like Young the
Mm,
Giant, Cage the Elephant, like chain smokers, like Coldplay. I listened to the same Coldplay song like literally every day, 10th grade, walking to school. There was not a time I was not listening to Coldplay. So that's how it was. It was just like a big gumble of the music. It's like it really depends on like the vibe you're going for,
mhm,
but it's like I get like really fixated on one artist, and then I'll get really fixated, or like I was really fixated on Amy, then I was like really fixated on like knowing everything about Lady Gaga, because I mean she's a master performer. So it just goes through phases like that. But the one consistent phase that I feel like is my vibe is definitely like the Marvin Gaye, Al Green, like energy.
yeah.
So, which is interesting because it's not really like the music I create is very Marvin Gaye like vibe, but it's just, I don't know, it's like the complete opposite of what I'm making, but it's just what I like to listen to.
Yes, I definitely love a little Trouble Man, Marvin Gaye. Uh, just a quick side note: Marvin Gaye and I share the same birthday, so and we're from the same city. So yeah, just a quick side note.
Of course. That is amazing.
Out of all those musicians, which of which of them have you learned the most from?
Oh, definitely listening to Marvin Gaye and Erica Badu. Like I'm gonna say those two like the most, and also War. I don't know if you listen to War, all caps War.
Hmm, hmm.
Those three, the 1970s, like the 1960, I'm gonna say 1965 to like the 1999, that right there taught me the most about music, like the chord progressions, the changes, the fact that a song doesn't have to go one way, that it can just go
Mm,
forward. Like, you know, that's where I learned the most about music, and the most about letting what you create flow through how you feel versus what you want it to sound like. But
mm,
in terms of the structure and songwriting, I've learned a lot from alternative music, because it's very, every time it's very like anthem like.
mm.
So, but definitely like the Vibies, the Marvin Gaye's, the Wars, the Erykah Badu, like all of that is where I learned the most about putting something together.
As we all know, sometimes music brings back like different memories from, life. What's your fondest musical memory,
My fondest musical memory,
and where does it take you back to?
in terms of like when I performed, or like an experience I've had with listening, or,
It could be either or both.
well, my fondest musical moment was, did I turn 16? I think it was, I turned 16. So my mom, I grew up listening to this composer on VHS called Yanni. I don't know if you heard of Yanni, but
Mm,
he's a composer, and she took me to see him. Like, I grew up listening to him. It's like one of those things where you would never think you would ever see this person do it, like see his whole orchestra, like all of it. I
mm,
mean, it was absolutely amazing. And my
mm,
favorite composition by him is Prelude and Nostalgia. And I used to listen to it like clockwork, to go to sleep, to wake up, to calm down, like to help with my anxiety, like all of it. And she took me to go see him on my 16th birthday. A
nice.
Greek musician, composer, all of it. Like, she took me to see him, and it was like the first time, because you don't understand, like, out of all the people I've listed, that I've mentioned,
Mm,
the only person where I feel like if I saw in person, like I would just cry, is Johnny, because it's like he's just so happy about what he's doing, and I was like enjoying the concert. Like, I'm even getting emotional now thinking about it. And then when he played Prelude and Nostalgia, and I heard the violin going off, I was like, I lost it. I lost it. That's literally that was the most amazing thing my mom could have ever done for me, because he literally only is kind of touring like out the country in Europe and Asia,
mm.
so it was like a really rare moment. I'm like, oh my God, he's in Maryland. Clearly this was curated just for me. And she took me. So that was the fondest.
That's great. That's great. Before everything shut down, how often did you perform?
Before everything shut down, how often did I perform? Man, I don't even know. Maybe like at the most once a month, if not twice.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I try to keep it as rare as possible, my performances, because I'm really trying to work on keeping some stuff together. But that's also where I make money.
yeah.
So I got like two good performances a month could pay rent. So
Mm.
yeah.
So what's that process like? Do people reach out to you, or do you have management that reach out to different venues for performing?
So it's a big mixture. Either I'm creating an event, either I'm co-creating an event.
Mm-hmm.
Some people reach out to me, some people go to my emails, some people go to my management, some people go to my mom, so
Mm,
um mostly that way. I don't really like to take, performance requests through Instagram and things like that,
mm.
because it just gets lost in the sauce. So it's mostly just like random, like it'll just be like random, just chilling, not expecting anything in my email. And it's like, hey, so it hasn't
Mm,
become one of those things where I'm just like, I know this is definite yet,
mm.
but it's like a surprise every time. It's like a little gift.
A little gift.
hmm
Um, excuse me. How do you handle mistakes during the performance?
I'm just gonna be honest. I have sometimes my patience is not the best. And when things happen, I've learned to outgrow shutting down, because sometimes it's so hard for me to like get back in my bag, because it's like being on stage is such a vulnerable moment. So you're like exposed. It's like literally being inside out. So
Mm.
like when something messes up, it's like you just got poked in, like, I don't know, your heart, and you're just like, your exposed heart at that, not just like your chest, but like your exposed heart. Somebody just poked you and you just like shook for a second. And I'm just like, just pull it together. I just do the best that I can. I do the best that I can. Sometimes it shakes me. Sometimes I can tell that the audience knows I messed up. Sometimes I can tell that, oh, maybe they're not feeling it
Mm.
because I messed up or something like that. But I just try to take a deep breath and pull it together, because I never perform by myself. I always have a band. And
Mm.
I just do the best that I can. Like, I just try to keep everybody encouraged and uplifted. Not to say every moment has been like perfect and everything has gone smoothly when things have gone messed up. No, it hasn't. It has not. I've had to grow a lot. Like, I've had to grow a lot. I used to shut down. I used to feel very like there's no way this can be fixed, or I'm gonna have like a whole attitude explosion. And but now I'm just learning to take it a little easy, and learning the best way to not mess up is to be as prepared as possible.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
I just checked out your latest visual. How did you come up with the concept for that? And who did you work with to help produce it?
So the video was shot and directed by Stacey Muhammad.
Hmm.
She's a really great filmmaker. She has a lot of things out. She lives in New Orleans. She's worked with Ava DuVernay on Queen Sugar.
Nice.
I mean, she's boss, and that's also like my auntie. Like, that's my, not my blood auntie, but as close as blood can get. Like, it's, like one. But yes, my mom and her actually went to Duke Ellington together. Like, they went to the same high school. Um, so concept wise, honestly, all of it happened so fast.
Mm.
She's in New Orleans. I'm like, let's do it in New Orleans. The song's Children of the Sun. The message is fire. The energy of New Orleans is very, very, like, I don't want to say heavy, but it's very like in your face. Like, the
Hmm.
ancestral energies for,
Hmm.
Black and brown people in the diaspora is very strong in New Orleans. So I felt like it was a good place to post up. And my auntie was there and she was ready. Um, concept wise, my mom kind of helped put that together, the goat riding through on the horse
Hmm.
once again. She put it together, and we wanted to tell a story of girls really just transitioning and experiencing life and experiencing their culture in this day and age. And we had the voodoo queen Kalinda come in.
Mm.
She's from New Orleans as well. She's a voodoo priest. And she came and did some blessings for us, as our guide inside of the video, like as our spiritual guide, and giving us blessings as we're going on to experience our journeys as Black and brown sisters in America.
Mm.
So she just put it together for us. My mom and all of them, they really came through. But in terms of like visual style wise, just like an expression of my culture with the patterns and the prints and the outfits and the dancing. It's very I don't know if you know how Navasha Daya has always done like her feathers. Like, I was very influenced by her, like when it comes to my presence and performance.
Mm.
She always has a very colorful look with the tribal marks and the feathers in her hair.
It was definitely my lady and I've been to New Orleans, and like you said, the energy down there was heavy, but at the same time there was an energy of like creativity,
Mm-hmm.
and places like New York or New Orleans is always good for creatives to just like sit down and take that energy in, and you know utilize whatever gifts you have to create in those settings.
Mm-hmm. It was really nice down there. I guess we really tried to focus on creating something quality and less focusing, because if you think New Orleans, you think, let me get every shot that shows everybody I'm in New Orleans. Like, it was less
Mm.
about showing that, oh, this is where we are, and more about pulling and co-creating with the energy there to create the best product possible to get like the message across.
Yeah, I could definitely feel the energy within the soil and the
Be fired, it's about to be boss, and then I get on stage and I'm like, oh. I'm like, oh. The one thing I always tell myself in my head is fuck it. I tell myself fuck it, and I also tell myself, what am I gonna do? Leave? Like, so I just go and do it. I'm like, there's really no choice now. Like, you can't really turn back. Like, this is it. Like, you're here, you're on the stage, you have the whole band. Like, there's no choice. Like, you just gotta do this, even if like everything feels messed up, everything is going wrong. I'm like, listen, like, what, I can't just go. So I'm gonna just go here and do what I came to do, and remember that like I just try to imagine that there's like nobody there. So yeah, I just try to zone out. But I don't know, that kind of gets me, I don't know, people always, I've been told it's either a hit or miss. Like people that are working with me, like on my team, they feel as if I need to connect more with the audience, or they feel like I need to get more engaged. But I feel like, once again, like I don't move based off like what other people need me to do.
Right.
I move based off like how I'm feeling. Like there's been times where I've been super outgoing and super engaged, and there's sometimes where it's just like I just need to be like still in my body, like, and just, but the audience, like how they feel, like that's subjective to them.
Yeah. Um, so I guess that would be the advice you would give somebody who wanted to, like, I guess, perform, or just sometimes imagine the audience isn't there.
I mean, not just imagine the audience isn't there, but remember why you're here. Because I mean, everybody's reason for getting on that stage is different, and sometimes even I'm like, what am I doing this for? All right, I'm doing this for whatever reason I'm doing this for. But just remember like why you're here. Like, and if you can't remember, just let yourself be like a vessel for creation. Like it doesn't have to go any deeper than that. So that's where like the fear begins and ends. You
Yeah.
just are, like, it doesn't matter if it's good, it doesn't matter if it's bad, because all of that is subjective. Like you just are, like, just let it be.
Speaking about that, do you have a specific goal as a creator? Like, what's the end all be all? Like, what's the message you want to get out there into the masses?
The message out there to the masses, the end goal, the all be all.
I don't want to get
um
too deep on you.
no, it's fine. It's just like, for me, the end goal for myself, like I don't do this just for myself. There's some things that I have gone through in life that I won't get into now, that I guess will reveal itself as I move on in my journey. But
Mm,
it's like the main message that I have is mainly for people that look like me,
mm,
is mainly for women that look like me, is mainly for dark skinned and brown women that look like me, and girls and old women,
mm,
just giving them representation and letting them know that I see you, and that your existence is righteous and your existence is divine, and that you don't have to be quiet, and you don't have to keep your head down, and you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Like, that anything is possible, and that you're literally the only message I have is that you're not by yourself. Like,
mm,
it's more than just, oh, I want to do the music, but it's like, I need this money to help the community, I need this money to help my family, I need this music to uplift, and I need this message to remind. Like, that's it. Like, we don't have a lot of people out here telling us that we're great. And I mean very specifically people that look like me, Black women that look like me, like very specific. I'm
mhm.
not even going to pretend, like, it's very specific. Because I mean, the truth is, like, we got to work our asses off 30 times harder.
Right.
And so every time I look up, I don't see anybody that looks like me. I still don't see nobody that looks like me. And
Mm,
so it's more than that. It's about creating a safe space where we feel like we're heard, and we don't have to do the most. You know,
Yeah.
we can just exist in our bodies as is. So that's just the main focus, that you are enough exactly how you are. Because there's, and I mean, if you go through the list of the people that I've mentioned, like none of those people other than Tracy Chapman or anybody that looks like me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
not to say that the music isn't great, the music is awesome, the music is amazing, but representation matters. And the time that people take to openly say, hey, I care about you, I love you, you matter, here's some resources, like that's just, it's not really out there for us. Like we have to search high and low for it. So it's a burden to try to want to do that, but it's still like the end goal, the all be all is to create everything possible to give my people and myself representation.
I definitely dig that. And another point is black people aren't monolithic, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't one specific genre for a black person, you know, whatever they show within the media and promote heavy, that's not all of us. And the reason why I like your music is because it's like nothing I ever heard before. You know what I
Oh, thank
mean?
you.
And maybe somebody in the future who listens to your music would, I guess, aspire to, you know, apply some of your techniques or whatever in their art, you know.
I would hope so, because I'm just like, yo, like going to like a predominantly white high school, especially
Mm,
switching from growing up in African cultural schools and switching into that predominantly white
mm,
institution. It's like, it's very hard to find yourself. It's very hard to find a space. Like they don't show you, they don't tell you, they don't show us the black rock stars. You know, they don't show us the
mm-hmm,
Michelle Indigo-cellos. You got to go
mm-hmm.
find the Michelle Indigo-cellos, but we all know who Nirvana is. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like we have to go search high and low. But I'm like, black people rage. Like we rage and we vibe and we do hip hop. Like we do everything. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to pick. You don't have to choose. You don't have to fit into a box. Like that's it. That's the best part about music. And I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's like a blessing and a curse, because like the people that are working with me, they're like, okay, can you do one thing? So like
Mm-hmm.
we can like focus on like trying to brand that. But then it's like, as soon as I'm done doing that, I'm like on to doing something completely different. It gets a little bit hard to like put in places, but it's whatever. It's like just a soup.
Mm. How often do you practice with the band or by yourself?
By myself all the time. Like I'm always saying, I'm always writing. I'm always writing more than I'm practicing. I'm not going to hold you.
Mm,
But with the band before, you know, COVID, um, we we practice mostly on a performance basis.
mm,
I pretty much spent the time in between band rehearsals, like trying to curate like the lineup and writing and, you know, singing by myself. And then when it's time to do a show, perform at least 3 to 4 times before
mm,
the event. If not, because when I moved to Brooklyn, like we have to do that 3 to 4 times because I'm working with new people. But back home in DC, my old band, who I'm pretty sure if I had a show in DC, we'd all come together again. It'd be like brand new. There'll be some times we didn't even have to rehearse. We just pull up because we already know what it is, you know?
mm.
So as often as possible.
How do you balance your music with other obligations like social life or jobs or whatever?
Well, let's just say I'm not the best employee. I'm not gonna hold you. I think I've
Mm.
been fired from one job last year. I was definitely fired from one job. Oh crap! That's my therapist calling me. I forgot I had therapy.
Oops.
Um, it's something. Call her back. Well,
Okay.
we do this all the time.
That's what I say. I
But
only got a few more questions for you, but
yeah,
that's
no, it's no rush. It's no
mhm,
rush. What was the question?
how do you balance obligations within
Balance.
yeah.
This is literally what just happened. Is a perfect, a perfect example of how I am not that great at balancing.
Mm,
But you know, when I'm working at the truth of the matter is, when I'm busy and working at a job, it actually motivates me to get up and work on my craft more.
Mm,
Even if it's simple as I work at a grocery store or something like that. Like, it's kind of surprising to me because you would think, I don't want to work at a grocery store. I want to go be free and be a rock star. Like, no, like, actually, because I'm already up, my body's on a schedule. It's like, all right, my day off, I'm like, okay, let's get it. Like, we need to go create. We need to go get this work done. Um, I just try to keep a schedule as much as possible. Sometimes my schedule gets all sorts of crazy, but I just try to keep it as simple as possible. And I have people around me to help remind me. I've just recently started doing Google Calendar. I don't know why I didn't get on that like 3 years ago,
mm.
but yep, that's pretty much it. I just try to save as much time as possible for music and also sleeping. Do a lot of that. Like with COVID though, like I honestly couldn't tell you. Like there is no balance. There's sleeping and there's eating and possibly crying involved. Like I don't know.
Has COVID helped your creativity or not helped it? Has it like stopped your creativity?
I always tell myself, if I get a good song out of this, it was all right.
Mm,
And I've written some good stuff. So it's like, I don't know, whenever things like explode, if I get a good song out of it, I'm always like, all right. I can always like forgive the circumstance. Like I never feel like a victim. Um, but I've been creating a lot more. My partner, she is a musician as well. So we've been creating a lot together,
nice.
trying to not being stuck inside. Like it's just
I
so
know what you mean, man.
hard.
I know what you mean.
It's like, I know I don't hate you. I know I don't. But yeah, so we've been creating a lot. Just whenever possible. It's been a little bit easier to get work done now that I'm back home in Brooklyn. Because my mom's house is it's family everywhere. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to focus. So, but I've been spending a lot of time. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of. It'll go like I'll write 5 songs in like 3 days, and then I'll be like sleep for like 2 months. Like my brain
Mm,
will just So I just try not to force it. Like I just try to let it unravel how it's going to unravel.
cool. All right, one last question. If you had a choice to define your music genre outside of the general classification, rock, R&B, etc., what would it be?
Confusion. Gumbo.
Gumbo.
Like
A mixture. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know. A progression, a never-ending progression. Like it
Mm.
just like that's it. Like I don't know if that's like a good enough answer, but you know, never ending.
It's perfect for me. How can people contact you for I guess future bookings or to tune in into your music?
Tune in to the music. Oh my gosh, I know I'm about to be so cringy when I hear this back. Like I hate hearing myself talk back. Like maybe I'll just maybe I'll just maybe I'll just because I have like this chipmunk voice when I listen to things back. You can contact me at winzdaylove@gmail.com. That's WINZDAY love LOVE
Mm,
at gmail.com, or follow me on Instagram at Winzday Love, or follow me on Spotify at Winzday Love, and or follow me on YouTube at Winzday Love. And please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please.
mm.
Please.
That's perfect, man. I just want to thank you again and really appreciate your progress and thank you.
Of course, of course. Thanks for having me. Thanks for talking to me. You guys have been, well, I guess you have been the most exciting part of my quarantine. We're not getting a lot of outside conversation or like
Hmm.
interactions with people. So, you know, whatever you need, you know how to find me.
Perfect, perfect. Be safe out there, man. I'll be contacting you in a little bit.
Okay. Peace,
All
peace,
right.
peace, peace.
Thanks. Have a good one.